Hey guys, I'm back with another room design video. Here in this one, I'm going to be showing you 5 different kitchen designs that you could add into your own builds. Here is kitchen number 1, here's number 2, this is number 3, here is number 4, and then this one is number 5. So I'm going to be showing you how to do the construction of the room itself as well as the furnishings. So there's going to be some timestamps on the screen right now so you can skip to the kitchen that you want. Also, if you're not worried about the construction of the room and you just want the furnishings, then once again you'll be able to see exactly where to skip to if you just want that particular part. But anyway, let's go ahead and get right on into the first kitchen. So I went ahead and gathered up all the blocks we're going to be using just for the construction here for kitchen number 1. So make sure you have some pillar quartz blocks, stone buttons, light gray concrete, quartz bricks, white concrete, chiseled quartz blocks, white stained glass panes, smooth quartz stairs, iron trap doors, and sea lanterns. So here's the plot size for kitchen number 1. It's going to be a 14 by 14 block area. Now keep in mind where you see that gray concrete, that's what we're going to be placing our interior walls on top of. So all the grass space within this shape is all of the space needed for the room itself. So let's go ahead and start bringing up the interior walls. We're going to have our white concrete and we're going to be right on top of the gray concrete. We're going to start by placing 2 layers, and I'm facing towards the entrance right now. So let's place 2 blocks of white concrete on each side, starting from the corner like that. This right here will be the opening for the doorway. So everywhere else along the sides and the back, let's continue with the white concrete. Then we'll have 1 more layer of white concrete on top of this. Then we'll have a layer of chiseled quartz, and then 4 layers of light gray, and those will be the interior walls. So far, this is what we have: 2 layers of white, 1 layer of chiseled quartz, and 4 layers of light gray. Now let's continue with the light gray. We'll go right here in between where the opening is. At the top, we'll have 2 layers. Now make sure to switch to your white concrete and we're going to start filling in the ceilings. So go here at the top layer of the walls where the light gray concrete is, and we'll just fill in a layer up here for the ceilings. Now make sure you have your pillar quartz block. We're going to go over here towards the right first, and we're going to start shaping out the door frame. So let's place 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go ahead and just bring it all the way up to 5 like that. We'll do the same on this side. And then at the top in the middle, we'll go ahead and have sideways ones from one side to the other. Now what I'm going to do is double up the walls, just like I did over there at the original version. So for this door frame, we're going to go ahead and have the corner block like that with the pillar quartz. Let's go from the inside and fix this one here, so it's like that as well. Let's go back on the outside, and we're going to go ahead and just bring down an extra 4 pillar quartz facing straight up and down underneath each one of the corner blocks. And then in between them, we'll just have them sideways from one side to the other. Now make sure you have your stone button. We'll cover up each corner like that. Go to this side, do the same thing. Okay, and now for the rest of the exterior of this entire room that we have here, we're just going to fill in with an extra layer of the light gray concrete, just like I did at that version. So we'll start with the light gray. We'll just have an extra layer all the way around the edge. We'll bring it all the way up until we're 1 block higher than the walls that we have right now, and then we'll top off the top with an extra layer of light gray concrete. So you can see here, we're just going to bring it all the way up until it's 1 block higher. So we'll fill in the sides, and then we'll add an extra layer here at the top. So this is optional. I'm just doing this for the purpose of the tutorial. But just so you have an idea of what you could do, you can start doubling up your walls. And you can have different walls on the interior that aren't the same as the exterior. So this is what we have so far. Let's head on to the inside, and we're going to start deleting the floors, and we're going to be replacing them with the quartz bricks. So we'll start here right in between the doorway. And then we'll work our way in and continue deleting this top layer of the rest of the grass here. And then, like I said, we'll replace it with the quartz bricks. So all the floors are now filled in, looking like that. Now let's add our light, so make sure to grab the sea lanterns. We'll also be using the smooth quartz stairs here in a second. We also still need to use the white stained glass paint, so we'll just swap out the chiseled quartz. So let's grab the sea lanterns. We're going to have 2 spaces away from the wall here at the front and away from the side. So we're going to carve out a hole here, replace that with the sea lantern. Then we'll skip over 2, working your way towards the back, fill in another one there. Skip over 2 again, fill in 1 more, so you're left with 3 spaces here from the back wall. We'll do the same on this side. So right there, skip over 2, right there, skip over 2, and right there, leaving 3 again. We'll cover all these up with the iron trap doors. Now let's go ahead and mark out where the crown molding is going to be, so just make sure you have your smooth quartz stairs. We'll face the front wall first. We're going to place these at the top, upside down, just like this. So now it looks like crown molding. And we're going to work this towards the sides and towards the back wall here. We'll do the same on this side. And then here for the back wall, instead of just bringing it from one side to the other, we have to make sure to jut it out a little bit because it wraps around part of the oven hood. So we'll look over here at the left first. We'll bring this out an extra 3. And then on that third block here is where we're going to start wrapping it out. So we'll place 1 there, and then another 4 going towards the right. And then we'll bring it back in, so this final one is curving, and then bring this towards the corner like that. Okay, so if you look here, you can see we have 2 quartz stairs that are just right here on their own. We curve that one, and we curve that one. Over on this side, there's 3. Okay, so that one's curved, and that one's curved. And then we're just left with 5 right here. And then 3 spaces remaining here, which is going to be where the oven hood is going to be. So we'll look over here towards the left. We're going to leave 1 space of the wall, and then we'll leave 1 at the bottom. We'll carve out 3, leave 1 at the top, delete the extra layer, and then where that light gray concrete is on the exterior, we'll fill that in with white stained glass paints. And now we have a little window here. And that is everything for the construction of the room. So let's go ahead and get on to the furnishings next. So I gathered up all the rest of the blocks we're going to be using here for the interior furnishings. So I'm just going to scroll through each one and you can pick out all the ones you're going to need to grab. So let's start at the back wall first. Just make sure for now you have some full blocks of the smooth quartz, some smooth quartz stairs, some furnaces, and some campfires. We'll start with the full blocks. We'll head on over here towards the right. We'll place 5. So this right here is some counter space. And then for the next 3 spaces, we'll dig out 1 layer. We'll then replace it with the campfires. And just in case, make sure you do have fire spread turned off. You never know, you just don't want anything to burn down. And then on top of those campfires, let's place the furnaces. And now there's some smoke coming through, so it looks like something's cooking. And then switch back to the full blocks of the smooth quartz. We'll place 2 at the left of the furnaces. And then here in the corner, we're going to have 3 upside down smooth quartz stairs like that. Now be sure to switch back to the full blocks of the smooth quartz. We'll go right next to the stair here where we left off. We'll place 2 full blocks like that. And then we're going to have the refrigerator. So we'll place 3 blocks going up, and then 1 at the left at the top and at the bottom. The empty space in the middle is going to be an upside down smooth quartz stair. And then we're going to have a table here at the left of the fridge. Make sure to grab your smooth quartz slab. We'll swap out the furnace. So we'll have a stair on its side like that, a slab next to it, and then another stair on the other side. Okay. So far, this is what we have. Now let's mark out where the oven hood's going to be as well as the cabinet. So make sure you have your full blocks of the smooth quartz. It will go right here where the oven hood's going to be. We'll have 2 layers of the quartz going down like that. And then let's grab the sea lanterns. We're also going to need these iron trap doors, and then the smooth quartz slabs and smooth quartz stairs. So the sea lanterns we'll place right there. And then on the sides of them, we'll go ahead and have a quartz stair. Like that. In the corners, we'll have a smooth quartz slab like that. Underneath, we'll have an additional layer of the slabs. And then to cover up the sea lanterns a little bit, we'll go ahead and have some iron trap doors. Now let's mark out where the cabinets are going to be, so make sure you have your full blocks of the smooth quartz. We'll head on over here towards the right. We're going to leave 1 space in between the counter here and the bottom of the cabinets. So we'll have 4 like that. On top of that, we'll have another 4. And then we'll grab our smooth quartz slabs and have a layer on top of that. We'll head on over here towards the left of the oven hood. And we'll go ahead and place 4 blocks. And then slabs on top of those. Now over here towards the right of the fridge, we're going to do the same thing we just did there. So 4 like that. And then the slabs on top. And then we'll go ahead and have another 2 right above the fridge. As well as the slabs again. And then starting here, we're going to have a total of 6, with the slabs once again. Okay, and now you can see it's kind of hard to tell where the fridge is and where the cabinets are. So let's go ahead and grab the birch trap doors. So we have a total of 6 spaces here to fill in. And then we have 2 right above the fridge, like that. And then the other 4 to the right of it. And there we go. So now you can see this is the fridge. Everything else is cabinet space. We'll cover up the rest of these here. So that's looking good. Let's go ahead and continue covering up the rest of the full blocks where the counter space is. So just like that. We'll do these 2 spaces here, and then the 2 spaces there. This is going to be left as it is. And yeah, this is what we have so far. Now let's start adding the backsplash. So be sure to grab your pillar quartz blocks. And we'll delete the 3 blocks here. And then we have this space here, as well as this chiseled quartz. So we're deleting 2 layers here. Okay, so we deleted this strip right here in between the cabinets and the counter space, and then 2 layers here right behind where the ovens are. We deleted this strip here, and then 2 layers here, and then right along in between here. So now that's going to be replaced with our pillar quartz blocks. So we're going to make sure to have a crisscross pattern. So I'll start over here, and you could just start off with maybe 1 facing up and down, and then we'll have a sideways one, and then up and down, so they're back and forth like that. And then we'll go over here, we'll maybe have a sideways one, up and down, and then sideways, and then right above this one, we have to have up and down. Right next to that, it'll be up and down again, and right next to that one, it'll be sideways. So it's just a crisscross pattern. Then right here, that one is up and down, so that means this next one has to be side to side. And then this one on top of it will be up and down. And now you can see here, up and down, sideways, up and down, and you can just keep doing this pattern until all of it is filled in and looking good. So it's kind of hard to see. I think that one, yeah, that one's sideways. Yeah, the smoke is definitely getting in the way. Alright, there we go. Okay. So there we go, that is the backsplash, and I think that just adds so much more to the kitchens instead of just leaving the wall as it is. So now that just looks like some tile on the back of the wall. So let's say if you do splash some water up on the wall, instead of actually messing up the paint on the wall, you actually have tile here, which will prevent that from happening. So that looks good. Now let's look at the wall here at the right, and I'm going to mark out where the cutouts are going to be. So we're going to be using the smooth quartz stairs. And we'll look over here. We're going to leave 2 spaces from the right. we'll carve out 2, then we'll skip over 3, and carve out another 2. So we're left with 2 spaces of white concrete here, and then we have 3 in the middle, we have 2 there. Now let's go ahead and just continue bringing this all the way up until we're right below the crown molding there at the top. And now we're going to have just some quartz stairs facing up like that, and then upside down. And then at the top, we'll just have the quartz stairs side by side. And there we go, that's looking good. So let's go ahead and start marking out where the island's going to be. So we'll shape out the sink first. We're going to be lined up with the ovens, and we're going to be 3 spaces away from it, so we're here on the 4th block. And then we'll go ahead and just wrap around some quartz stairs like that, so it forms a shape. So this is where our sink's going to be. Now let's continue with our stairs. We'll head on over here at the left. We'll just have them upside down. Oh, hang on. It's not letting me place it. There we go. So we just have an upside down one there, and we'll wrap this around. And we'll bring it 1 block further, like that. And then we'll go ahead and have another one that is upside down but curving, just like that. Okay? And then over here, we'll go ahead and have more upside down ones. So we'll have 2 like that, and we'll curve it in to there. We have 1 space remaining here in the middle, which will be a full block of the smooth quartz. So, that is actually everything for the island. That looks good. Now let's go ahead and grab the birch trapdoors. We'll cover up the sink right here. So now this just looks like some space underneath the sink, just like some storage. And then let's grab the bucket of water, and we'll fill in the... Oh, what the heck? Hang on. I don't know how that even happened. So just make sure to fill in this space here for the sink. Alright, so that looks good so far. Now let's have the high chairs. So these are pretty much just spaces where you could maybe eat some breakfast. So we'll have a stair like that, and then one on top of it. We'll do the same on this side, so we'll face it like that, and then one there. And now we pretty much just have all of the little decorations. So we'll look at the island first, and we'll grab the weighted pressure plate, birch button, the lever, and what else? We can maybe grab a flower pot, and how about we'll use that blue orchid there. So for the sink, we'll have a lever pointing towards it like that, so it looks like the faucet. And then you could have maybe a birch button there, so it looks like a bar of soap. And then in front of the high chairs, we'll have some weighted pressure plates, so it looks like plates. And then we'll have a flower pot maybe right there with the blue orchid, or whichever flower you want to use. Over here, we'll go ahead and have a cutting board and another flower pot. So we'll have maybe the flower pot there, and I'll just maybe fill it in with this one. And then we'll grab the wooden pressure plate and have it there. Over here, we'll go ahead and have another flower pot, and I'll just grab maybe this one. That looks good. On this wall, I'm actually going to have a light source with some paintings covering it, so we'll delete 2 blocks here. We'll fill that in with sea lanterns. And then we'll grab the painting. And you can maybe, you know what, I'm going to have 2 small paintings. So maybe that one and that one. So that looks good. And now let's go ahead and add the decorations here where these cutouts are. So we're going to have a flower pot with the skulls. And then you could grab just whichever flowers you want. So I'll maybe have the wither skeleton skull there, the regular skeleton skull on that side, then a flower pot, and then fill it in with a flower. Next up, we have a carpet right here, which is also a main light source. So we'll go ahead and carve out, it's just going to be 2 spaces like that. And we'll bring this over to the other side. So you can make this however big you want. I think I'm actually just going to leave it just as it is, so it's lined up where the island is. Yeah, I think that's fine. So now we'll go ahead and fill this in with the sea lanterns. And then we'll grab all of the carpet. So the gray, white, and light gray. So I'll just maybe have the gray there, maybe some light gray, and the rest of it white. You can have a pattern however you like here. You can maybe even extend this by 1 block on each side, but that's up to you. I think that's fine though. Alright, and I think, oh, right here we do have a few more decorations. So item frame and, oh, not a painting, but the trap door. So this looks like a drawer. The trap door looks like a handle. And then on top of this, we'll go ahead and have another flower pot. Okay, so that looks good. And then I believe we just have one more thing left to do, and that is the lights right above the island. So let's go ahead and mark out where the lights are, where the island is. And real quick, I actually do want to grab the sea lantern and the birch trap doors. This is something I recently thought of, but you can see here how it's a little bit dark. You could go ahead and maybe just have a sea lantern right there where these cabinets are. And now that just adds a little light source there, and it's not so dark. So now you can't even see the sea lantern anywhere. That was something I recently thought of, but I think it was pretty cool. Alright, you can maybe also have like a sea lantern right there. Maybe even 2 here, but that's all up to you if you actually do need the light source. But I think it looks good now. So let's go ahead and do the final thing left for this kitchen. We'll look right here above the island. So we'll look straight up. We'll have 2 white stained glass panes. We'll have an end rod and then an iron trap door right underneath that. So that's just a light hanging down. We'll go ahead and skip over 1 block so we're lined up right down the center of the sink. We'll have 2 white stained glass panes going down, the end rod, and once again the trap door. And then we're going to do it one more time right above this space here. And now one thing I like to do is just flip around the end rod so you can see how this end is right there. I like to have that facing towards the trap door so it looks like it's actually kind of connected to it. I think it just looks a little bit better. So you actually have to kind of just stand on top of the trap door and crouch and flip it around like that. Okay, and I think that looks a little bit better, and this all just flows together nicer as well. So that is everything for the first kitchen, and I think that all looks good. So for now, I went ahead and gathered up all the blocks we're going to be using here for the construction of kitchen number 2. So make sure you have some green concrete, spruce logs, black concrete, white concrete, chiseled quartz blocks, dark oak wood stairs, dark oak wood slabs, spruce trapdoors, and some sea lanterns. So here's the plot size for kitchen number 2. You're going to need a 15 by 11 block area. Now keep in mind where you see that black concrete, that's what we're going to be placing our interior walls on top of. So all the grass space within this shape is the space that's actually needed for the kitchen itself. So let's start by bringing up the interior walls first. So make sure you have your spruce logs. And I'm going to be starting at the side where the entrance to the kitchen is going to be. So we'll start by placing 2 of the spruce logs facing up like that on each side. Then we're going to go along the sides and the back and add another layer. So in total, we're actually going to have 2 layers of the spruce logs. And then after that, we're going to have a layer of chiseled quartz. And on top of that, we're then going to have 4 layers of green concrete. So this is what it's looking like so far. Now let's continue with our green concrete, and we're going to go right in between the opening here at the top and add 2 more layers. And then let's switch to the white concrete. We're going to go at the top here on the inside and just add a layer of white concrete to fill all this in, and this will be our ceilings. Now let's start marking out where the door frame's going to be, so make sure you have your spruce logs. I also forgot to grab some spruce wood that has the bark on each side, so be sure to grab that as well. I'll just swap out the green concrete. So with the spruce logs, we're going to go on each side and just bring it all the way up. And then we'll go ahead and switch to the spruce wood. And we're going to go at the top in between those and just bring this from one side to the other. And now what you want to do is just add an additional layer with the door frame on the outside, so we're just doubling it up. So we'll go ahead and just use the spruce logs on each side. And then the spruce wood down the middle. And now for the rest of the outside, we're going to switch back to the green concrete, and I'm just going to double up the walls. Just like how I did it at that version, and how I did it at the original one. I just always like to double up my walls, so the exterior walls are different than the interior walls. So, I'm going to go along here at the bottom, and just wrap this all the way around, and then what I'm going to do is bring these walls all the way up with the green concrete until we're one block higher than the interior walls that we have here, so we're just bringing this all the way up. Like that, so we're wrapping it all the way around the sides, and then we're going to have one extra layer here at the top with the green concrete as well. So this is what it's looking like so far. Now we're going to head on to the inside. We're going to be using the black concrete and the white concrete, and we're just going to have a checkered pattern between the two. So you could just delete the first layer here in the ground. And I'm just going to add a couple lights in here. Okay, so now like I said, just with the black concrete and the white concrete, we're just going to have a checkered pattern. So every other block will have black concrete like this, and then for the other spaces we'll have white. Then we'll have white concrete where all the black concrete is, and then we'll have black concrete in between all the white concrete, just like that. So you could continue doing that until all the floors are filled in. And I think I filled it all in. I don't think I missed any spots. So, there we go. We have those floors all filled in, looking good. Now we're going to go ahead and do the crown molding and the lights in the ceiling. And then I believe that is everything. So for the crown molding, just make sure you have your dark oak wood stairs and slabs. We're going to start with the stairs, and we're going to go at the top and just place these upside down here all the way along the edge. So just wrap this all the way around and back to the other side where we started. And now right down the middle from the sides, we'll go ahead and have a strip of the dark oak wood slabs. And then we're going to have two strips from the back to the front. So I believe it is 3 spaces apart. Yep, okay, so just make sure there's 3 spaces here, 3 in the middle, and 3 at the left. So we'll bring this all the way from one side to the other. And there we go. Now, grab your sea lantern. We're going to go ahead and just fill all of these in. So now we have a light source here on the ceiling, and then you could cover up all those sea lanterns with the spruce trapdoors. So now the overall construction of this room is all done. So I'm going to go ahead and gather up all the furnishings now. So I gathered up all the blocks we're using for the furnishings, so I'm just going to scroll through them all. You could grab all the ones you're going to need, and then we'll get right on into it. So let's start by marking out the counter space first. We'll head on over here towards the left. Make sure you have the stripped spruce wood. And we're just going to bring this back. So we're just placing the counter space until we have 2 spaces remaining here from the back wall. Then we're going to have 1 block here in the corner. We'll grab the hopper. You could place 1 right there and 1 right there. Switch back to the spruce, or to the stripped spruce wood. We'll have 2 more to the right of that sink. We'll skip over 2 blocks, and then we'll place another 4. Where this space of 2 is going to be the refrigerator. So you could place 3 blocks of quartz going up, have one to the left at the top and one at the bottom, and then have a quartz stair right there for that empty space. Let's go ahead and switch to the spruce trapdoors, and we'll cover up all these full blocks here where the counter space is. We'll go ahead and do that here as well, and for these ones. So this is what it's looking like so far. Let's go ahead and grab the lever and the birch button. The birch button we'll have right there, so it looks like a bar of soap, and then we'll have a lever pointing towards each one of the hoppers, so it looks like the faucet for these sinks. So this is what it's looking like so far. Now let's mark out where the cabinets are going to be, so switch back to the stripped spruce wood. And we're going to have a total of 8 right here, and we're just 1 space above the counters. We'll have 2 more above the fridge, and then another 8 to the right of it. We'll go ahead and cover all these up with the spruce trapdoors now. Over here on this space, we're just going to have some shelves, so make sure you have your stripped spruce wood. We'll place 4 going up. We'll skip over the middle space and do another 4 here. And then we'll have an upside down dark oak wood stair at the bottom. We'll skip over 1 space and have another one there. And now all along the top, from one side to the other, we'll be sure to grab the dark oak wood slabs and just fill all this in like that. Okay, right here, we'll grab the dark oak pressure plate. We'll place it there so it looks like a cutting board. And then over here we actually had some chairs, so we have to delete this trapdoor and that one. We'll go ahead and switch to the dark oak wood stairs. We'll place them in that direction. Then we'll spin around and place them in the other direction on top of it, so it looks like some high chairs. This is pretty much just like a little breakfast area. You could then grab the weighted pressure plates, so it looks like plates in front of the chairs. Now let's mark out where the cutout is going to be right here in this wall. So you just want to line up with the chairs. We're pretty much just 1 space from the left of the wall here. We're carving out 3, and then we're bringing this all the way up until we're right below the crown molding. So up here at the top, we'll have a dark oak wood stair on each side, and then a slab in the middle. For this wood here, we're going to replace it with the stripped spruce wood, so it all just flows together real nicely here. Then we'll have the upside down dark oak wood stairs right there. At the original build, I actually did have this just 1 block lower like that, and then this layer here was green concrete, but I'm actually going to leave it as it is. I think this looks a little bit better. Now be sure to grab your pillar quartz block, and we're going to start adding the backsplash. So this is just a tile behind the counters. So you could delete all this wood right here. And you know what? We actually have to replace these levers. So we'll go ahead and do that. Alright. So now I'm just going to have a crisscross pattern between the pillar quartz. So we could just have maybe one facing up and down right there. And we'll do the same here, just so you can't see the inside of the block from right there. So if I had this as a sideways one, you could kind of see it right there. So just have that one facing straight up and down, and then starting here we'll have it sideways, up and down, and sideways, and just back and forth like that. So we have we have one facing up and down there, so we have to have a sideways one there. And yeah, just back and forth until all of this space is filled in. Okay, so that looks good. Let's replace our levers. And that is everything so far. Now one thing I'm going to do, just to add a little bit more light in here, is just place some sea lanterns behind the cabinets up here. So you can maybe just have, let's see, maybe open these up. We'll replace the wood back there, fill that in with sea lanterns, and then cover that back up. And now we have a light source right here. I'll do the same on this side. And you know what? That should be good. So that just adds a little extra light over here, and you can't see the sea lanterns from any direction, so that all looks good. And now we pretty much just have the island right in the middle. We have some storage over here on this side, and then all the extra decorations. Now for this wall over here at the right, we're going to have our storage. So make sure you have your stripped spruce wood. We're going to leave 1 block of space here at the right, and we're going to place 6 blocks of the wood like that. We'll skip over 1, and we'll have another 6 here. On top of those, make sure you have your dark oak wood stairs, and we're going to place them side by side. And then for the rest of the space here at the front, we'll cover it up with these spruce trapdoors. Alright, and that looks good. So pretty much the last main thing we have left is the island right here in the middle, as well as the oven hood right above it. Now for the island right in the middle, make sure once again you have your stripped spruce wood. We're going to line up here at the left side of the fridge. We're going to skip over 3 spaces from it, so we're on the 4th block. Then we're going to place 3 blocks like that, and then work your way over towards the right and place an additional 5, so including this one here, it'll be 6 in total. So now we're 2 spaces away from this storage area here. And then we're also 2 spaces away from the edge of the chairs. So we'll fill all this in. Just like that for now. So now let's mark out where the furnaces are going to be. You also need some campfires, and just in case, make sure you do have fire spread turned off before you place the campfires. You never know what could happen. So I'll go from this side, and I'll delete the 2 blocks right here in the middle at the end, and then I'll delete the 2 blocks of the first layer of the floors. We'll replace that with the campfires, and then on top of it, we'll have the furnaces. And now let's go ahead and mark out where the oven hood's going to be. So make sure you have your smooth quartz blocks, the smooth quartz stairs and smooth quartz slabs, the sea lanterns, and the iron trap doors. So we're going to be right above the furnaces. So we'll look down right here, look straight up, and we actually have to delete these 2 slabs here. And then we'll have a total of 4 full blocks of the smooth quartz like that going down. Underneath it, we'll have the 2 sea lanterns. Along the sides, we'll have some more stairs like this. We'll have a slab in each corner. And then we'll have some more slabs all along underneath. And then real quick, let's actually go ahead and cover up the sea lanterns with the iron trap doors, and then we'll add our final slab. So there we go, now we have the oven hood. And so far, this is what we have. Let's go ahead and grab the spruce trap doors. We'll go from this side. We'll have these right in front of each one of these blocks here on the side where the furnaces are. So now it looks like we have extra storage there. And so far, this is what we have. So we just have some extra decorations, and then this kitchen is done. So let's start by marking out where the lamp is going to be. So make sure you have your end rod and your gray concrete. Gonna go ahead and just place a lamp right here on this space where where the counter is. Just adds a little bit more, adds a little extra light source as well. Right here, we're just going to have a flower pot. You can have whichever flower here you want. I'll just have that one. And then on top of the island, I'll also have another flower pot, maybe just right around here. And then on top of these shelves as well, we'll go ahead and have a couple more flowers. And that's about it. So that actually completes this kitchen. So this is more of like a traditional look. So I went ahead and gathered up the blocks we're going to be using for the construction here for kitchen number 3. So make sure you have some pillar quartz blocks, stone buttons, gray concrete, quartz bricks, chiseled quartz blocks, white concrete, iron trap doors, sea lanterns, smooth quartz stairs, and some white stained glass panes. So here's the plot size for kitchen number 3. You're just going to need a 10 by 11 block area. Now keep in mind where you see that gray concrete, that's what we're going to be placing our interior walls on top of. So all the grass space within this shape is actually the space that's going to be needed for the kitchen itself. So we're going to start by bringing up the interior walls first. So we're going to be using the white concrete, and we're going to be right on top of the gray concrete. And I'm going to be starting at the side where the entrance to the kitchen is going to be. So just have 2 blocks on each side from the corner like that. And then we're going to go along the sides in the back and have some more white concrete. And then on top of this layer of white concrete, we're going to have a layer of the quartz bricks. And then after this, we'll have a layer of chiseled quartz. And then on top of that, we're going to have 4 layers of gray concrete. So this is what it's looking like so far. Let's continue with the gray concrete, and we're going to have 2 more layers starting here at the top to fill in the space in between, or where this opening is pretty much. Like that. And now, switch to your white concrete. We're going to go here at the top layer of the walls and just fill all this in, and this will be our ceiling. Now, switch to your pillar quartz block, and we're going to go on each side where the opening is and just bring up a strip of the pillar quartz. And then we'll have sideways ones right in the middle here at the top. And now let's add an extra layer from the outside, so we're just doubling up the wall. So we're going to have a corner block there, and then we have to go from the inside and fix these ones, so it's the same way. Let's go back on the outside. We'll have 4 layers going up, right underneath each corner, and then sideways ones. Grab your stone button, we're going to cover up each corner. And then go back on the outside. We're going to switch back to the gray concrete and just add an additional layer here on the outside. So we're just doubling up the walls the same way that I've done it for all the other rooms. So I'm going to start here at the bottom and just wrap my way all the way around. And then I'm going to bring this all the way up until it's 1 block above the interior walls. So I'm just filling in the sides with gray concrete, and then I'm covering up the top with an extra layer of gray concrete as well. So this is what we have so far for this room. Let's head on to the inside. I'm actually just going to add a couple sea lanterns in here. And you could go ahead and just delete this first layer of the ground, all on the inside. And what we're going to do is switch to the pillar quartz block, and we're just going to have a crisscross pattern with that block here for the floors. So make sure you have your pillar quartz block, and I'll just start over here. On every other block, I'll just have it in a certain direction, and then on the extra spaces, we'll have it in the opposite direction. So right here, we'll have it in that direction, and here we'll have it sideways. So just crisscross like that. So I'm going to continue filling in the rest of the floors the same way with that pattern. So this is what it's looking like so far. Now switch to your smooth quartz stairs. We're going to have the crown molding, so just go along the top and have the stairs upside down all the way around the edge. Now let's grab the sea lanterns, and we'll just have 4 in each corner. So this would be our main light source from the ceiling. Then we'll have the iron trapdoors to cover those up. We'll delete these other sea lanterns. So there we go. And now we're going to have a window over here on the right wall. So make sure to skip over 4 spaces from the right side. So we're going to be right here. We'll delete a total of 6 blocks, and then we'll delete the extra layer on the outside like that. We'll grab the white stained glass panes. We'll go from the outer layer and fill all this in. And then you could go ahead and replace this white concrete with some full blocks of the smooth quartz, which I actually did not grab. So let me go ahead and grab that. And there we go. So now that's just pretty much like some extra counter space that we're going to have here. And then we're going to have our sinks here. But yeah, that is everything for the main construction of the room. So let's go ahead and gather up all the blocks for the furnishings next. So I gathered up all the blocks we're using for the furnishings here for kitchen number 3. So I'm just going to scroll through them all. You'll be able to see which ones you're going to need to grab. So we're going to start with the full blocks of quartz first, and we're pretty much just going to mark out where all the counter space is. So we'll head on over here towards the right, and we'll place 4. And then where the 2 spaces are in front of the window, we'll have hoppers. And then we'll go ahead and have 2 more blocks of, or my bad, just 1 block of the full quartz. Then we're going to have a stair there, and a stair there. And then here in the corner, we're going to have another full block. We'll do the same on this side, so a block right in the corner, a stair on each side. And then we'll go ahead and have 1 more full block on each side, leaving 2 spaces in the middle. We'll delete the first layer of the floors here. We'll replace it with the campfires, and just in case, you never know, just make sure you do have fire spread turned off. And then we'll cover these up with the furnaces. Over here at the left, we're going to have 3 more blocks of full quartz like that. And then we'll go ahead and cover up each one of the full blocks of quartz with the birch trap doors. So this is all just some storage here, some drawers pretty much. And then I'll crouch and place these right in front of the hoppers as well. And then over here we're going to have the refrigerator. So have 3 full blocks of quartz at the right, have 1 curving at the bottom and at the top, have an upside down smooth quartz stair, and then a slab on top of that. And then we'll have 2 quartz stairs side by side right there as a little table. Okay, so that's everything so far. Now let's have the cabinets on this back wall. So switch back to your full blocks of quartz. And we'll just have 6 on each side. And then at the top we'll fill in the remaining 2 spaces there. And then right above the ovens, we're going to have a microwave. So go ahead and just have a black stained glass block right there. And then we'll have a full block of the smooth quartz. Then we'll have an item frame, and make sure to also still have the birch trap door. So we'll have the item frame there, and then the birch trap door. We'll kind of just turn that on its side so it looks like the handle. Then continue with your birch trap doors, and we're just going to cover up each one of these full blocks of quartz. So now we have some cabinets up here. And then lined up where the microwave is, we're just going to have 2 smooth quartz slabs there. And then grab your iron trap doors. We'll have these right on top of all the cabinets. So this is what we have for kitchen number 3 so far. Now let's just finish off this kitchen with all the decorations. So I'll just start organizing all of this. We're going to need the flower pot and all of the flowers. And then we'll grab the sea lantern, and then the 3 carpet that we're going to be using. So we'll go ahead and do the carpet and the floor first. We could delete 4 spaces from one side to the other like that, leaving 1 space away from the oven. And then we'll bring this over until we're actually just right there. So it's going to be a 4 by 5 block square. Right? Let me see. So yep, there's 5 there and then 4 there. Okay, just like that. We could fill this in with sea lanterns, and this is our main light source here for this kitchen. And then you could just cover this up with whichever carpet you like and make the pattern that you want. And you know what, that's fine. Let's see, we'll use the flower pot. So I have a flower pot there. You could just maybe I'll have the white tulip there, that's fine. Over on this side, I'll have another flower pot. Did I end up grabbing? Okay, I did. Let me grab that. We'll have the wither skeleton skull there. We'll have that flower, that is good. And then over here, we're going to have the weighted pressure plate, or the spruce pressure plate, so it looks like a cutting board. We'll also need the birch button and the levers. So the cutting board we'll just have right there. And then over here, we'll have the levers pointing towards the hoppers, so it looks like the faucets for the sink. We'll have a birch button, so it looks like a bar of soap. Then we also need the buckets of water, so you have to crouch and fill these in. And then we'll have another flower pot, maybe 1 there and 1 there. I think that'll be good. Over here, did I forget? I actually did. I totally forgot to grab the blocks we're using for the lamp. So you're just going to need an end rod, And then I'll go ahead and use maybe just a white concrete block, so let me just grab that. And we'll have a lamp right here. Just adds a little bit more. And then let me go ahead and fill in these flower pots. So which one haven't I used? I think this one and this one. Yep. Alright, we'll have that there and that there. That is good. I think that's pretty much everything, but I do want to add a little bit of extra light behind the cabinets. So grab a sea lantern. Oh wait, you know what? You could see the sea lantern from there. So we could only really have... Oh, we can't have it there either. Okay, right here is the only spot we could really have a sea lantern. So just have that right behind there. Adds a little extra light source. You can't see the sea lantern from any angle. And yeah, we just have a little hidden light source there. Normally, if these were all slabs here, like we have it here, you could have another sea lantern right behind that, and right there if you do need the extra light source, but I think that's all good. So that, I believe, is everything for this kitchen. This is one of the smaller ones. So I gathered up all the blocks we're using for the construction here for kitchen number 4. So make sure you have some light gray concrete, some pillar quartz blocks, some stone buttons, gray concrete, chiseled quartz blocks, smooth quartz stairs, white concrete, iron trap doors, and some sea lanterns. So here's the plot size for kitchen number 4. You're going to need a 14 by 12 block area. Now keep in mind where you see that gray concrete, that's where we're going to be placing our interior walls on top of. So all the grass space within the shape is going to be the space that's actually needed for the kitchen itself. So let's start by bringing up the interior walls first. We're going to be right on top of the gray concrete, and I'm facing towards the front wall, so where the doorway is going to be. You can start with your gray concrete. We're just going to place 2 on each side from the corner. And then you could go along the sides and the back and continue with the gray concrete. So what we're going to do is have 2 layers of gray concrete, and then a layer of chiseled quartz, and then 4 layers of light gray concrete. So that's what it's looking like. Now let's continue with the light gray. We're going to go here at the top in between this space and just add 2 extra layers of light gray. And then let's go ahead and fill in our ceilings. So make sure to switch to the white concrete. We'll go here at the top of the walls and then just fill all this in. Now, let's go ahead and mark out where the door frame is going to be, so make sure you have your pillar quartz block, and we're just going to have these going up and down on each side. So right there, and over here, and then along the side, or pretty much along the middle, we're just going to have them sideways, here at the top. And then in each corner, we're just going to have the corner block like that. So we're just doubling up the wall now, we're adding an extra layer here on the outside. And then go from the inside and do the same thing, just replace these blocks so you can see the corner. And then go ahead and have these up and down right underneath. And then sideways in between them. And then in each corner, we're just going to have a stone button. So that's all looking good. Now, grab your light gray concrete, and I'm just going to go along the outside and pretty much just add an extra layer. So I'll start here at the bottom, and I'll just wrap this all the way around from one side to the other. And then I'm going to bring up an extra layer going all the way along the top until I'm 1 block above the walls. So what I'm doing is just bringing this all the way up, so I'm 1 block above the walls here. So I'm filling in all of the sides, and then I'm going to have an extra layer here at the top. So this is what we have for this room so far. So let's go ahead and fill in our floors, and then we'll focus on the ceilings. Real quick, I'm going to add some sea lanterns in here just to add a little extra light. So for the floors, I'm just going to delete this first layer here all on the inside and replace it with light gray concrete. So we have the floors filled in like that. Now switch to your smooth quartz stairs, and I'm just going to start adding the crown molding. So I'll start here on this side, and the stairs are just going to be along at the top, all upside down. So I'll bring it along the sides as well. Do it over here. And then we're going to have an oven hood here. So what we're going to do is actually have a stair like that. And then we're going to have another one jutting out. And then we'll wrap this around. We'll bring it over 3 and then curve it back in. So you should be left with 2 spaces right here in the middle. And then we'll bring this back to that side. Go to the ceilings and just add some sea lanterns up here. Cover these up with iron trapdoors. I'll delete these. And now that is it for the main construction of this room. We can now go ahead and gather up all of the furnishings. So I gathered up all the blocks we're using for the furnishings here for kitchen number 4. So I'm just going to scroll through them all, and you'll be able to see all the ones you're going to need to grab. So let's start by marking out the counter space first, so make sure you have your full blocks of the smooth quartz. We'll head on over here towards the right. We'll place 4. And then we're going to have the fridge right here. So go ahead and just place 3 going up. We'll have 1 at the bottom and 1 at the top. And then an upside down quartz stair there. And then like 2 slabs on top of that. Now grab your smooth quartz blocks again. We'll have 2 here. Skip over 2 and have another 2. For this empty space, you could go ahead and delete the layer of the floors here. And I actually forgot to grab it. We need to grab the campfire. And we'll go ahead and place that there. And then you could go ahead and top that off with the furnaces. And let me actually grab the hopper again. I accidentally swapped that out. Okay, so that's what it's looking like so far. Let's go ahead and grab the smooth quartz blocks again. And real quick, just make sure, I don't think any of these blocks would catch on fire, but just in case, make sure you do have fire spread turned off. And you know what, I was about to do the cabinets, but let's actually do the oven hood first. So we're gonna go right here. We'll place a total of, we'll have it like that. So we have a total of 4 blocks that we just placed of the full blocks of quartz there. And then we'll grab the sea lantern. We'll have 2 like that. And then we'll have a smooth quartz stair facing like that. And then slabs right underneath them. And then we have some iron trapdoors, and we're going to cover up the sea lanterns. Now switch back to your full blocks of quartz. And we're going to be 1 block of space above the counters. We're going to have 4 like that. We'll go over to this side, we'll have another 4. And then we'll go over here, and we're going to have a total of 8. Now, switch back to your smooth quartz slabs. We're just going to have these right on top of these blocks. And then, be sure to grab the birch trapdoors, and we're going to cover up all of these full blocks of quartz. So here, down at the bottom where the counter space is. And then for the cabinets up here. So this is what the back wall is looking like so far. Let's actually go ahead and grab the quartz bricks, and we'll delete this layer of the gray concrete here. And we're going to go ahead and replace it with the quartz bricks, so it looks like some of the backsplash. And I believe we have to delete... What is that right there? Yeah, chiseled quartz, we have to delete that right there as well and replace it with the bricks. You could barely even see it because of the smoke, but it just looks a little bit better like that. Yeah, I can see it from back here. You could tell. We'll focus on this wall next. We have some cutouts over here with some shelves. We're going to go ahead and skip over 2 spaces from the right side here. And then we'll delete 5. Okay. And then we'll just work this all the way up until we're right below the crown molding. And right down the middle, we'll go ahead and grab our full blocks of the smooth quartz. Just have a strip right down the middle like that. And then have your smooth quartz stairs. Oh, first, let's actually replace this gray concrete here with light gray. So now the floors flow together a lot nicely, or a lot nicer. And let me grab the smooth quartz stairs again. And I'm just going to have 2 side by side here at the bottom. And then we'll have them upside down right below the crown molding. And then you could grab your smooth quartz slabs. We'll just have 2 right there on that layer. So now we just have some shelves over here and that looks good. And next up, we pretty much just have the island right here in the middle. So we'll head on to that next. So let's mark out where the island's going to be. So make sure you have your full blocks of the smooth quartz. We're going to line up with this strip here. And we're going to look over on the other wall. We're going to start here and we're going to place 7 going out. Like that. So this strip of 7 is 4 spaces away from the cabinets here. Or the, like the counter space here. Now, make sure you have your smooth quartz stairs. We're just going to have these upside down on this side. And then we'll wrap it around. And before we continue it on, we have to switch back to the full blocks of quartz and have another strip right here. And then where this last space is here, we're just going to have the stair kind of just curving like that. So, that is the island right here in the middle. Now let's go ahead and do the cutout over here on this wall. So we're going to start here. And just line up where the island is and bring this all the way up until we're right underneath the crown molding. You can replace this gray concrete here with the full blocks of the smooth quartz. And then we'll have upside down quartz stairs on top of that. Half a block above it, we'll have some smooth quartz slabs. And then we'll have a slab right in the middle at the top, and then 2 stairs side by side like that. So I'm looking at this space right here. I'm actually going to curve this stair like that. It just looks a little bit better instead of having that random little space of the quartz. So I think that looks better. So now I'm going to have a stair like that. I'm just marking out where the high chairs are. We're going to skip over a space, have one there, and one there. And then on top of that, in the opposite direction, we'll have another stair, so it looks like some high chairs. Now you could line up with the ovens. We could carve out 2 spaces here. Grab the hoppers. And fill that in, so it looks like sinks. And then grab your birch trap doors and fill in pretty much like the full blocks here. And then you could crouch and fill in this space here in front of the hoppers. Go ahead and grab your bucket of water, crouch again, fill that in, and then grab your lever, the birch button. We'll have the levers pointing towards the sinks like that, so it looks like the faucet. They'll have a birch button maybe right there, so it looks like a bar of soap. Let me grab the weighted pressure plates. We'll have these in front of these chairs, so it looks like plates. Right here I had a microwave, so you could go ahead and just grab the black stained glass, the full block of quartz, the item frame, and the birch trap door. So I have the block of glass there, smooth quartz block, the item frame on top of that, and then the birch trap door will turn it to its side, so it looks like a handle. Now let's add the rest of the decorations. So be sure to grab the spruce pressure plate, and that'll be right there, so it looks like a cutting board. Now let's hang our lights down from above the island, so make sure you have your iron trap doors, the end rods, and the white stained glass panes. We're going to line up with this high chair and be right in the center of the island. We'll look straight up. We'll have a white stained glass pane there, then an end rod, and then an iron trap door. And you know what? I'm actually going to bring this down lower. So we're going to have 2 white stained glass panes, and then the end rod again, and then the iron trap door. There we go, that's better. And now, I'm going to have an extra iron trap door. Oh, I think we have to crouch. Yep, there we go. Like that. And then I'll crouch again. I'll bring this over an extra 4. Okay, and then right here, we'll have an end rod. So I'm going to crouch, place it like that. And then we'll have the white stained glass panes. Then we have to flip around this end rod as well, so it looks like this little spot here is connected to the trapdoor. Then this flows a lot nicer. Now we have some hanging lights right there. That looks good. And we're going to have a carpet right here in the floor. So we'll carve this out. We'll replace it with sea lanterns. So this will be a good light source here. And then we'll cover it up with the carpet. So the gray, the white. Okay, we're also going to need light gray. So we'll have just some light gray there. Maybe some gray here. And then maybe white. You know what? Let's have gray there. That looks good. I like it. Okay. And what else? I think we pretty much just have all the little extra decorations left. So let me go ahead and grab them all. That's going to be the flower pot, the skeleton skulls, and then all of the flowers. And I think that's everything. Okay. We'll have a flower pot maybe just right there with... I'll have the blue orchid. Over on this shelf, I'll have a flower pot with maybe a fern. And then over on this wall, I'm just going to have some skeleton skulls like that. And then I'll also have a flower pot everywhere else. And that, I think, is everything for this kitchen. So there we go. That's going to be kitchen number 4. So I went ahead and gathered up the blocks we're going to be using just for the construction here for kitchen number 5. So make sure you have some pillar quartz blocks, stone buttons, white concrete, chiseled quartz blocks, quartz bricks, light gray concrete, iron trapdoors, sea lanterns, and some smooth quartz stairs. So here's the plot size for kitchen number 5. You're going to need a 16 by 12 block area. Now, where you see that light gray concrete, that's what we're going to be placing our interior walls on top of. So all that grass space within this shape is the actual space needed for the kitchen itself. So let's start bringing up the interior walls first. Make sure you have your white concrete. We'll head on over here from this corner and just place 2 blocks of white concrete on each side. And now over here on this wall is actually just going to pretty much be entirely a cutout. So I'm actually not going to waste my time filling in this wall since it's all going to be removed anyway. But over here on this side, we're going to continue with the white concrete as well as for the back. So it'll just be like that. Then switch to your quartz bricks and we're going to go right on top of this white concrete and just add a strip right on top of here. At the back wall, you can switch to your white concrete, and we're just going to bring this over towards the left by 7 from this corner. And then we'll go ahead and have 5 more layers of white concrete on top of this. Now, on top of all this brick here, we're going to also have 5 more layers of white concrete. And then for this section here, we're going to switch back to the quartz bricks and completely fill all of it in. This is what it's looking like so far. Let me actually go ahead and bring the rest of this up. And now, in case you're wondering, we are going to be doubling up our walls, so we're going to have a layer of white concrete here, and that's going to fill in this wall. So before we do that, let's go ahead right in between this space here at the top. We're just going to have 2 layers of white concrete. And then let's go ahead and have our door frame. So your pillar quartz block, we're going to bring it up on each side. And then sideways blocks right there at the top. And then add an extra layer on the outside. So we're going to have our corner block. And then we'll have these going up and down right underneath. So we're just doubling this up. Have it on its side in between them, and then go from the inside and straighten out these corner blocks. And then we'll cover up the corners with these stone buttons. Now let's go ahead and continue with our white concrete, and we're going to fill in the entire outside with an extra layer. So we'll start over here at the right. Now just bring this over until it's one block around the edge. We'll bring this in, wrap it all the way around. And back to this side. So I'm just going to continue bringing that up until it's one block higher than our interior walls. So we're bringing this all the way up here, just like that. And then you could go ahead and fill all of this in. So now we have all our walls filled in, looking like this. Now we'll make sure to switch to your light gray concrete, and we're going to fill in our ceilings. So look at this wall over here. We're going to be one block above the doorway here. So just on this layer, and we're going to fill all of this in with some light gray concrete. Alright, so that's all filled in. Now let's go on the outside and top all this off with an extra layer of the white concrete here. So now the main exterior and all the interior walls for this room are done. Let's go ahead and fill in our floors. So let me just have some sea lanterns in here for a little extra light. And I'm just going to delete the layer all on the inside here and replace it with some chiseled quartz blocks. So I'm deleting all of this here and all on the inside. So this is what it's looking like so far. Now let's go ahead and do the crown molding and the lights in the ceiling, and then we can head on to the furnishings. So here for the crown molding, let's go ahead and switch to our smooth quartz stairs. We're going to place them upside down along the top edge of the walls. So look at this wall first where the doorway is. Just bring it from one side to the other. We'll do the same over here. And for this wall, it's a little bit different. We actually have to bring this in to right here. So we're leaving one space like that, and then we also have to be sure to leave a space here at the back. Okay, so just like that for now. Over on this side, we have to bring this over by one, and then here on this second block, we're going to place it there, and then we have to curve it out like that. Bring this over 3, then curve it back in, and then we'll bring this over 3 again, then curve it back out and connect it to right there. So I'll take a look at what I just did. So this side is just from one side to the other. Same with that right there. Over here is the same thing, except it's just leaving one space behind it. And then here we also left one space, but then here I'll look over here first. You can see how we have this one stair here. And then starting here, we curve this out. So we have 4 right here. And then we brought it back in. We have 2 blocks here. And then we curved it back out on this third block and connected this back to here. So for this space, this is where our oven hood's going to be, right where the oven is. And then here is just some shelves. So there we go. That's everything for the crown molding. Let me go ahead and have just a sea lantern there and there. We could delete those. And then we don't want to go too far over because we have some hanging lights here. So I'll maybe just have another sea lantern right around here, I think should be good. If we need to shift them over, we will. But I think that is right where they should be. So that is everything for the main construction of this room. Now let's go ahead and just add all the furnishings. So I gathered up all the blocks we're using for the furnishings here for kitchen number 5. So I'm just going to scroll through them all, and you'll be able to pick out all the ones you're going to need to grab. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the shelves over here on this back wall and right wall first. So make sure you have your full blocks of smooth quartz. We're gonna go right here on this corner, just have a strip of the blocks like that. We'll go to this back corner, fill this in as well. And then we'll look over here on this wall, we have to skip over 4. So we're gonna be right down the middle here, and then we have 4 over on this side. Now make sure you have your smooth quartz stairs, and we're just gonna have 4 curving together here at the bottom. Here as well. And then here. And then at the top, we're going to have just a sideways stair on each side with slabs in the middle. And then right here on this layer, we're just going to have some more quartz slabs. So we're just a block and a half above this bottom layer here. So this is what we have for this wall. Now let's go ahead and have our hanging lights right here. So just make sure to grab the end rod, the white stained glass pane, and the iron trap door. We'll start with the glass pane. We'll be 1 space away from the crown molding there. So I have glass there, skip over 1, right there, skip over 1, and right there. And then we'll have an end rod, and then an iron trap door. And now I have to actually stand on top of this trap door and crouch, and I just like to flip around the end rod so this end here, it looks like it's connected to the trap door, and then it flows better between the end rod and the glass. So I'll do that here as well, and here. And I think that just looks a lot better. So that's going to be our main light source here, and now you can see how much brighter it looks here. And now let's go ahead and do the counter space, and then the ovens, the oven hood, the fridge, and the island. So we'll look at this wall over here first at the left. We'll have 3 blocks of quartz. And then we'll have our fridge, so I have 3 blocks going up, have 1 at the bottom, at the top, upside down smooth quartz stair, and then slabs on top of it. Then we'll continue with the smooth quartz blocks, a total of 5 working our way towards the back right there. And then we'll go ahead and have 2 upside down quartz stairs right there. We'll skip over 2, have another 2, and then we'll have 2 full blocks after that. Now let's have the furnaces where the empty spaces are, and then the campfires. So we'll go ahead and delete the layer of the floors here, and I don't think any of these blocks would catch on fire, but just in case, make sure you do have fire spread turned off. So I have the campfires there, and then we'll have some furnaces to cover that up, and now it looks like there's some smoke, looks like there's something cooking. Let's go ahead and have our oven hood. So we'll have a total of 4 blocks of quartz like that, and then the sea lanterns. And then we'll have some smooth quartz stairs just around the side, like that on each side of the sea lantern. And then we'll have some slabs in the corner. Go ahead and have a layer of slabs underneath, and then some iron trapdoors to cover up those sea lanterns like that. So there we go, that is the oven hood. And now that I'm looking at this wall, I see we do have a strip of white concrete here. I guess I miscounted because I thought there was 7, because I would normally include the extra layer, but we don't have an extra layer here. It's just the outside right there. So I actually have to replace this here with some of these quartz bricks. So now it's just all tile. Okay, so I think that looks good. And now we're gonna have the island jutting out here, but before we do that, let's go ahead and have the cabinets. So switch back to your smooth quartz blocks. We're going to be just right above the bricks here. So I have a total of 6. We'll go on the other side and do the same thing. And then some slabs on top. And then some birch trap doors. And then we'll go ahead and continue with the birch trap doors where these counter areas are. And then, yeah, that's it for that. So that's all looking good. Let's go ahead and have our island now. So we're going to grab the smooth quartz blocks, and we'll have just 2 like that. We'll grab these smooth quartz stairs. We're going to curve together 6. So this is going to be our sink right here. Then make sure you have your smooth quartz block. We're going to have one right there. And then we'll go ahead and have another one there. And then we're going to go around the edge with our smooth quartz stairs. So we'll start it here. We'll just curve it like that. And then just wrap this around. And up to right there. Then we'll have some full blocks to fill in those 2 remaining spaces. So now we have the island here. And then we're going to have some chairs, some high chairs. So maybe just 1 right here. Or should we have 3? Yeah, we'll go ahead and have 3 like that. So we have the stairs facing in that direction. And then some more like that. So it looks like high chairs. Let's go ahead and fill in our sink. And actually, you know what? Let me take a look. So we're going to have a carpet right there. And then I think we just have all our decorations. You can see how empty it looks right now. So once we add all our decorations, it'll add some more color. Just add some more items and look like it's more filled in. So, let me go ahead and grab the bucket of water. We'll fill in our sink. And then I actually have to have some birch trap doors right here. So it looks like some more storage. And then I'll carve out a hole here. Just like that. And we're going to fill this in with the sea lanterns. So I actually didn't have nearly this big of a carpet here. I just looked back at the original version. I had one that was just like, I think it was just 6 blocks right here in the middle. This one's like 3 times the size. But I think it looks better, or going to look better than what I had over there. And then I'll just have some white carpet here on the end. Yeah, I think that looks good. So, what else do we got? I think just all the little decorations now. So let me look here. I'll just have maybe the cutting board right there. I think that's a good spot. We'll look at the sink. We'll have the weighted pressure plates right here. I actually cannot have one here because we have the sink. I actually don't think I had a chair here. So I'll just go ahead and remove that. And then I'll just have the lever pointing right there towards the sink. And you know what? Oh, I do have the button. I was about to say. Let's go ahead and grab the button and have it right there so it looks like a bar of soap. You know what? I'll have it maybe right there. Is that a better spot? Or right there? So it looks like a bar of soap next to the sink. I guess that's a good spot. Right here, I just had a lamp. So I have an end rod and just a gray concrete block. And yeah, I think right around there is good. We'll have a flower pot right here on the end with whichever flower you want. Okay. Go ahead and maybe have another flower pot here. And another one here. Okay, how's this all looking? Yeah, that's all looking pretty good. Now we just have to decorate all these shelves. So we're just going to be using the skeleton skulls and then all the other flowers that we have. Okay, that's all we could grab right now. So let me just have some skeleton skulls back here. Maybe another one there and there. And then there and right there. Now let's just have some flower pots in just a couple of the other spots. I think that's good. We'll fill all these in. And that is good enough. That finishes this kitchen. I don't think I'm missing anything. So that all looks good. That is it for kitchen number 5. Alright guys, so that's going to be it here for this video for these 5 kitchen designs that you could add into your own builds. If this did help you, be sure to please leave a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.